The OJs, once a symbol of soulful music, have faced numerous hardships throughout their careers. From financial struggles to personal losses, their journey has been filled with both triumphs and tragedies. Join us as we explore the tragic life and end of the OJs members, the rise and triumph of the OJs. The OJs' journey began in Canton, Ohio during the late 1950s, as the group embarked with immense ambition and exceptional musical ability, eager to leave their imprint. At that time, they were recognized as the Triumphs instead of the OJs. The original lineup included Eddie Leverett, Walter Williams, William Powell, Bobby Massey, and Bill Iles, all of whom were teenagers at the time. They envisioned achieving great success, yet the journey was difficult. During their first years, they performed at small venues and dedicated a lot of their time to performing covers of well-known songs, aiming to attract the interest of someone who could assist them in securing their big opportunity. Their luck shifted when they encountered a Cleveland DJ named Eddie OJ, who mentored them. It was due to him that the group took on the name the OJs, which would eventually become iconic. Armed with their new name, the group embarked on a journey to establish their presence in the music industry. However, similar to numerous artists, they encountered considerable challenges while attempting to establish their presence. Their first period was marked by obstacles, and achieving success was not simple. Their first single, Lonely Drifter, was launched when they were still under contract with King Records in the early 1960s. Although the single marked their debut on the US Billboard Hot 100, reaching a peak of 93, it did not represent the breakthrough they anticipated. Despite their ongoing efforts and the release of tracks such as Do the Jerk and Pretty Words, the group struggled to reach mainstream success. They found themselves caught in a loop of attempting to achieve that breakthrough hit that would launch them to fame. During the 1960s, they enjoyed some success with smaller hits such as Lipstick Traces, which reached number 19 on the Canadian charts, Let It All Out, and Stand In For Love. Nonetheless, their appeal in the United States continued to be elusive. Despite facing difficulties, the group continued to perform and record, yet they did not achieve the significant success they aimed for. In 1972, the OJs faced a pivotal moment. The band experienced numerous highs and lows, and two founding members, Bill Iles and Bobby Massey, chose to exit. This resulted in the group becoming a trio, with Eddie Leverett, William Powell, and Walter Williams remaining committed to achieving success. At this pivotal moment, they collaborated with the iconic songwriting and production team, Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff. Gamble and Huff were recognized for their talent in creating smooth, soulful music, and they had faith in the OJs. They signed the band to their Philadelphia international label, and everything started to transform. The first significant achievement arrived with the launch of the album Backstabbers, featuring the title song, a hit that ultimately became one of their hallmark tracks. Backstabbers evolved into an anthem and signified a pivotal moment for the group. The track rose to the peak of the charts and cemented the OJ's status in the music business. However, that was merely the start. The album featured additional popular tracks such as 992 Arguments, Sunshine, and Time to Get Down, all of which highlighted the OJ's distinctive fusion of smooth R&B and socially aware lyrics. One of the most famous songs from this era was Love Train, which not only reached the top of the pop charts, but also emerged as a cultural sensation. The song's theme of solidarity and connection struck a chord with listeners and became one of the most lasting tracks of the 1970s. During the remaining years of the 1970s, the OJs maintained a stream of successful releases. Tracks such as Put Your Hands Together, For the Love of Money, I Love Music, and Livin' for the Weekend established them as chart fixtures. Their music characterized the Philadelphia soul style, merging smooth melodies with funky beats and strong brass arrangements. The OJ's achievements extended beyond the United States. They also gained recognition internationally, especially in the United Kingdom, where they achieved multiple hits.
Everything, the old is new and everything.
I know something that's new about you. I heard a commercial on the radio and somebody was saying
Their 1978 track, Used to Be My Girl, became their final top 5 hit on the pop charts. And throughout the 1980s, the group continued to appear on the R&B charts, although they did not reach the same degree of mainstream pop success. Nevertheless, they persisted in being a powerful presence in music. In 1987, the O'Jays launched Let Me Touch You, featuring the top R&B hit Lovin' You. At this point, the team had gone through personnel shifts, including the recruitment of Sammy Strain from Little Anthony and the Imperials. Although their achievements in the pop charts had diminished, they continued to be a powerful presence in the R&B scene during the 1980s and early 1990s. Nonetheless, by the 1990s, the group's recording efforts diminished, and in 1992, Sammy Strain departed from the group to return to his earlier band. Even though the O'Jays' commercial success diminished, their impact remained strong. In 2005, they achieved the highest honor when they were welcomed into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The recognition was overdue, and it confirmed their status in music history. Their impact on R&B and soul music, along with their influence on countless generations of artists, it was unmistakable. However, their legacy did not conclude at that point. The music of the O'Jays remained cherished in the years that came after. On October 30, 2010, the band took part in Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert's Rally to Restore Sanity and/or Fear in Washington, D.C., solidifying their importance in the cultural dialogue. In 2013, they were inducted into the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, located in Cleveland, Ohio, which is their hometown. The acknowledgement completed its journey as they were celebrated for their musical contributions and enduring influence on the genre. However, the band's rise wasn't as smooth as it seemed. They faced several legal and financial battles that threatened to end their career. How did they get involved in these challenges, and how did they overcome them? O'Jays, legal and financial battles. The O'Jays, renowned for their classic songs and rich harmonies, possess a legacy that radiates prominently in the music industry. However, beneath the shine and sparkle, they waged struggles that were just as challenging as their rise to stardom. Between the 1960s and the 1990s, the group encountered substantial legal and financial challenges that challenged their resilience and commitment to achieving success. In their formative years, the O'Jays joined King Records, a choice that would trouble them for many years. During that period, the music sector was full of exploitative practices, and young musicians frequently ended up ensnared in inequitable contracts. King Records, infamous for its mistreatment of artists, exploited the O'Jays' innocence and aspirations. Although the group was excited to record and publish music, they soon discovered that their financial deal was quite imbalanced. Their music gained popularity, and their shows attracted audiences, yet their income hardly mirrored their achievements. King Records did not compensate the O'Jays with the royalties they rightfully earned, resulting in their frustration and disappointment. Despite becoming more popular, the financial inequality compelled the group to face a difficult truth. They were being deprived of the benefits for their efforts. Separating from King Records was quite a challenge. The procedure was challenging, and the team needed to struggle intensely to reclaim their sound and destiny. It was a difficult, yet essential move to regain their value. The pivotal moment occurred in 1972 when the O'Jays joined Philadelphia International Records. This collaboration signified the start of their journey to fame. With the leadership of Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, the ensemble thrived. Gamble and Huff were pioneers who contributed to the development of the Philly soul sound, providing the O'Jays the opportunity to produce chart-topping tracks such as Love Train and Backstabbers. Nonetheless, the transition to Philadelphia International Records came with its obstacles. The business aspect of the music industry continued to be as complicated as always, and the O'Jays quickly had to manage elaborate agreements. Numerous artists associated with the label encountered comparable difficulties, frequently realizing that their contracts were not as advantageous as they first appeared. As the OJ's popularity increased, their financial struggles also escalated. During the 1980s and 1990s, the group found itself involved in numerous legal disputes regarding royalties and the rights to their music. Conflicts emerged regarding who owned the rights to their famous songs, resulting in lengthy legal battles. The emergence of music video channels and the advent of digital streaming further complicated the situation, as concerns regarding intellectual property and licensing costs became more prominent. However, the difficulties extended beyond just the industry. Personal financial difficulties started to emerge as well. Eddie Leverett, specifically, struggled with the challenges of handling his finances. Similar to numerous artists, he dealt with the dual challenge of providing for relatives while managing the hazards of unexpected affluence. Substantial sums of money came in, but lacking adequate financial knowledge made it simple for situations to get out of hand. The OJs also faced challenges from opportunistic business associates. At one time, they found themselves caught in a contentious legal battle with a previous manager whom they claimed had mishandled their profits. This treachery served as a wake-up call for the group. They understood that in a sector populated by people motivated by personal gain, trust was an uncommon asset. These legal struggles and monetary difficulties brought significant stress to the OJs, but they did not allow these obstacles to shape their identity. Rather, they embraced these valuable lessons wholeheartedly. The team grew increasingly cautious regarding their contracts, collaborations, and general business transactions. They discovered how to engage with the industry more critically, resolved to safeguard their legacy, and make sure they were compensated fairly. Throughout everything, the OJs consistently allowed their love for music to shine despite their challenges. They maintained the same energy and spirit in their performances that established them as icons. The OJs were enjoying a peak moment of triumph. Their heartfelt tunes and memorable harmonies, capturing the affection of countless fans. However, with recognition arrived an incessant pressure to grow, to adjust, and to maintain relevance in a music industry that was transforming more rapidly than ever before. As the team reached the height of their career, the pressure to produce one hit after another took a toll on them. It was a struggle between remaining faithful to their origins and adapting to an industry that relentlessly pursues the next major trend. During their formative years, the OJs discovered a strong creative energy through their collaboration with Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff at Philadelphia International Records. This partnership gave rise to the Philly soul sound, distinguished by rich strings, gentle rhythms, and emotional lyrics. The ensemble flourished with this approach, creating enduring classics such as Love Train and Backstabbers.
Accepting songs from different writing teams that Gamble and Huff had, and any outsiders, or even Eddie and I.
However, the 1980s introduced dramatic changes in the music scene. Disco mania had swept the scene, and shortly after emerged the growth of new wave, hip-hop, and a variety of experimental music. The OJs encountered a significant hurdle, determining how to preserve their soulful identity while attracting a swiftly changing audience. Walter Williams, one of the main vocalists in the group along with Eddie Leverett, frequently found himself in the midst of this artistic conflict. Walter felt a strong bond with the ensemble's distinctive sound, emotionally rich ballads and funk-infused tunes, but the music scene was heading elsewhere. Electronic beats, synthesizers, and refined pop production were leading the charts. The urge to adjust was unyielding. The team chose to adopt a balanced approach, merging their traditional style with modern trends. Albums such as When Will I See You Again and collections like Love Train, the best of the OJs, showcased this balancing act. Their music maintained the emotional intensity and vocal richness that fans loved, while also incorporating more contemporary production techniques. While certain tracks connected, others failed to evoke the charm of their previous creations. As the 1980s transitioned into the 1990s, the music industry kept evolving. hip-hop and pop performers were ruling the charts, and boy bands were turning into worldwide phenomena. The OJs discovered they were up against a growing number of competitors as fresh talents appeared seemingly out of nowhere. The requests from record labels, managers, and promoters intensified. Additional singles, additional albums, additional tours. The group was anticipated to continue producing hits, but the OJs were committed to preserving their artistry over temporary fads. This dedication to their origins was simultaneously a blessing and a hindrance. The group's devoted supporters valued their genuineness, yet the strain between their artistic goals and business demands was evident. They balanced delicately, aiming to satisfy longtime fans while drawing in fresh audiences. The juggling act was draining, impacting their creativity and vitality. In spite of these difficulties, the OJs remained steadfast in their commitment to being authentic. They recognized that their power resided in their capacity to engage with audiences through music that resonated with the spirit. They declined to be carried off by the tide of temporary trends. Their commitment to preserving their identity as artists became their fundamental principle. By the 1990s, the group had cemented their legacy. Although they no longer ruled the charts as they used to, the OJs kept performing and creating music that remained authentic to their core. They avoided following trends, they stayed true to themselves, and that genuineness connected with their supporters. Fans continued to gather at their performances to listen to the tracks that had shaped their existence. Songs that conveyed the enduring themes of love, togetherness, and strength. The OJ's path through the evolving landscape of the music industry showcased their integrity and strength. They might have readily given in to the demand to transform in ways that conflicted with their true selves, but they opted for a more challenging route. They remained true to the sound that established their iconic status, despite the changing world around them. Despite facing challenges within the band, the members' personal lives were not without their struggles. They each encountered hardships that not only shook their careers, but also led to the death of some band members. The OJ's personal challenges and struggles. The OJs were a powerhouse of influence, celebrated for their soulful harmonies and dynamic performances. However, they faced numerous personal hardships, including a major setback in the mid-1970s when founding member William Powell experienced serious health challenges. Powell, together with Eddie Leverett and Walter Williams, had been present since the OJ's modest start. They ascended from performing at small venues in Canton, Ohio, to topping the charts with hits such as Love Train and Backstabbers. To Powell, life appeared flawless on the outside. The group's popularity was rising rapidly, and he was realizing his dream. However, concealed from view, difficulties surfaced. Powell started to feel ongoing tiredness and weakness, which he first overlooked. As the months went by, the symptoms intensified, and pain turned into a regular presence. It was a concerning indication that something was fundamentally amiss. Ultimately, physicians identified Powell as having cancer. The news was tragic, not only for Powell, but for all those near him. He was in his early 30s, a young man with a remarkable future in his career.
And you don't even have to learn it. You don't get a chance to become intimate with the song.
Cancer, back then, was not nearly as well understood as it is now. The available treatment choices were scarce and harsh, providing minimal hope or comfort. Eddie and Walter were devastated by the announcement. Powell was not just a bandmate, he was like a brother. The three of them had experienced numerous challenges and victories, ranging from the annoyance of first failures to the excitement of reaching #1 on the charts. At this point, their relationship faced challenges they could not have foreseen. Resolute in his desire to keep performing, Powell persevered for as long as his body permitted. He dedicated everything to the group, but the illness affected him greatly. The relentless speed of touring and performing turned intolerable. In 1976, Powell faced the difficult choice to leave the OJs. It was a decision made out of need, not wish. and it created a significant emptiness within the team. Sammy's strain filled the void, and the OJs continued. However, both his bandmates and fans acutely felt Powell's absence. He was an essential part of their sound, their connection, and their collective past. His leaving signified the conclusion of an era. Powell dedicated his last months to being with family and friends, valuing the moments he had remaining. On May 26, 1977, the world said farewell to William Powell. He was only 35 years old. The loss was unfathomable, not just for the OJs, but for the entire music community. Powell's impact and efforts formed a fundamental part of the group's heritage, and his lack of presence created a lingering pain. Challenges continued for the OJs even after Powell's death. Health challenges persisted in putting Eddie Leverett and Walter Williams' resilience to the test, as both confronted their personal struggles in their later years. Walter Williams, specifically, faced a life-altering diagnosis in the early 2000s. In 2009, Walter started to observe concerning symptoms: persistent pain, fatigue, and an unsettling feeling that something was amiss tormented him. Initially, he attributed it to the challenges of touring and years of shows. However, as time passed, the symptoms became unignorable. Doctors ultimately diagnosed Walter with spinal stenosis, a condition characterized by the narrowing of spaces in the spine, which exerts pressure on the nerves. It was a distressing and debilitating condition that jeopardized his capability to function. For an individual whose existence centered on music and the vibrancy of live performances, the diagnosis came as a heartbreaking shock. Spinal stenosis resulted in severe pain, tingling, and weakness. Occasionally, Walter worried about completely losing his ability to move. Nevertheless, he persevered, making an effort to endure the unease. By 2010, it was evident that he was unable to keep up with the band's strenuous timetable. Walter took the hard choice to withdraw from performing to prioritize his health. The choice was not simple. Walter had been a vital part of the OJs for many years, and the idea of leaving the stage was devastating. However, his bandmates and fans rallied around him completely, placing his well-being as their top priority. Walter's path to healing was far from easy. Physical therapy proved essential as he endeavored to enhance his back strength and recover his mobility. The procedure was gradual and frequently disheartening, with times when it seemed like the pain would never fade away. However, Walter's resolve remained unyielding. During this challenging time, Walter relied significantly on his faith, gaining comfort from spirituality and the steadfast support of loved ones, friends, and admirers. Their support strengthened his determination to recover and get back on stage. By 2012, following 2 years of dedicated treatment and recovery, Walter joyfully returned to the OJs. While he did not instantly regain his full strength, he slowly reestablished his spot on stage, demonstrating that perseverance and resolve could conquer even the toughest obstacles. Eddie Leverett, the iconic voice of the OJs, is well acquainted with suffering. Although his health wasn't affected as severely as that of his bandmate Walter Williams, Eddie experienced a different type of heartbreak. His resilience was challenged in unimaginable ways, as he faced profound personal losses that altered him forever. The first strike occurred with the premature passing of his oldest son, Gerald Leverett. Gerald was a musical force in his right. With a voice capable of evoking profound feelings, he established a legacy through his solo endeavors and as a member of the group Leverett, alongside his brother Sean and childhood friend Mark Gordon. Gerald's charisma and skill were unmistakable, and songs like Casanova and Baby Hold On To Me, a collaboration with his father, solidified his status as a star in the business. However, beneath Gerald's achievements were challenges that many were unaware of. Chronic pain and sleeplessness troubled him, causing him to depend on a mix of prescription meds and OTC substances. On November 10, 2006, disaster occurred. Gerald unexpectedly passed away at the young age of 40. The reason was a deadly combination of substances: a heartbreaking result of attempting to address his health issues. The announcement hit Eddie like a ton of bricks. Experiencing the loss of a child brings a pain that is beyond words, and for Eddie, Gerald's passing felt like losing a part of his being. Their bond transcended that of father and son. They were partners, trusted allies, and closest friends. Gerald's existence had consistently been a source of pride and happiness for Eddie. His passing created a void that nothing could satisfy. Eddie hardly had a moment to absorb Gerald's passing when another misfortune occurred. Only 2 years later, in 2008, Eddie's younger son, Sean Levert, died. Sean, similar to his brother, made an impact on the music industry with his contributions to Levert. He had inherited the same love for music that flowed strongly through the family. However, Sean's passing occurred in even more distressing conditions. At that moment, he was completing a 22-month sentence for overdue child support at the Cuyahoga County Jail in Cleveland, Ohio. While he was imprisoned, Sean started displaying unusual behavior, shouting and pounding on his cell door. The jail personnel held him back, yet his health deteriorated quickly. He was ultimately transported to a hospital, where he passed away. Sean was only 39 years old. The designated cause of death was determined to be complications from sarcoidosis, an inflammatory condition that had worsened due to stopping his prescribed anxiety medication. Nonetheless, the conditions surrounding his death sparked significant concerns regarding the treatment he was given during his incarceration. To Eddie, the defeat was unfathomable. Within a mere 2 years, Eddie had lost both of his sons, his joy, his pride, his legacy. The pain was almost intolerable. Gerald and Sean were not only Eddie's kids, they were parts of his very being, and their absence created a gap too immense to close. Eddie frequently discusses how these losses changed the trajectory of his life. The sorrow was overwhelming, but he discovered methods to continue progressing. He relied deeply on his music and his faith, both of which served as vital supports in his most challenging times. Eddie aimed to pay tribute to Gerald and Sean's memories through his performances and personal insights. On stage, Eddie kept pouring his emotions into his music, transforming his grief into performances that profoundly connected with the audience. Away from the spotlight, he sustained his son's legacies by sharing stories, giving tributes, and showing relentless resolve to endure, despite the suffering. Despite the obstacles they faced, the OJs crafted a legacy that has ensured their place in history, keeping their memory alive to this day. The OJs, enduring legacy. The OJ's legacy is a story of persistence, fervor, and an unwavering resolve that remained steadfast through both personal and career challenges. Their path to the peak of musical achievement was far from easy, yet they not only endured, but flourished, producing enduring music that still connects with fans worldwide. In every challenge, they stayed loyal to their sound and their connection, creating music that crossed the limits of time and genre. The OJ's ascent to stardom was not instantaneous. Similar to numerous artists, they encountered the tough truths of the music industry, such as financial mishandling and the constant demand to remain significant. Nonetheless, despite these obstacles, they succeeded in creating some of the most memorable music of their time. Albums like Backstabbers, 1972, and Ship Ahoy, 1973, not only defined their career, they also influenced the sound of a generation. These albums represented more than mere commercial achievements. They reflected the heartbeat of a changing society, providing songs that resonated with the challenges and aspirations of the era. Tracks such as Love Train, For the Love of Money, and Backstabbers emerged as cultural landmarks. They weren't merely popular songs, they conveyed themes of affection, warning, and societal consciousness. The OJs successfully fused soulful tunes with lyrics that resonated with profound realities.
It's still fun to get out there, and it's fun to see them react to it.
Crafting music that was both significant and delightful. These tracks demonstrated the ensemble's talent for transforming their individual challenges and perseverance into their creations, connecting with listeners in a manner that few others achieve. The O'Jays' music was pivotal to the emergence of Philadelphia soul, a genre that surfaced in the early 1970s and became a key influence in music. Collaborating with iconic producers Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff at Philadelphia International Records, the group played a key role in developing a unique sound characterized by rich arrangements, precise rhythms, and sincere vocals. Their music was not solely for entertainment, it was about connection. They addressed themes of love, betrayal, and justice, crafting songs that were both relatable and impactful. As their careers advanced, the O'Jays encountered the difficulty of changing while maintaining the core of what made them unique. The music industry was always evolving, with fresh genres and trends appearing. Spanning from the disco era through the emergence of hip-hop and further, the O'Jays had to maneuver through a terrain that frequently required transformation. Nonetheless, they succeeded in finding a balance between honoring their origins and welcoming transformation. Their music kept evolving, yet it consistently retained the distinctive mark of their soulful style. One of the most outstanding elements of the O'Jays' journey is their lasting connection. Despite the challenges of fame, financial issues, and creative obstacles, the group stayed together. They could have easily turned away from everything, but they realized that their music was more significant than any individual. They bore a duty to their supporters, their craft, and the heritage they were creating. This feeling of responsibility motivated them to persist, despite the challenges. The impact of the O'Jays reached well beyond their songs. They were trailblazers in representation, overcoming obstacles for Black artists during an era when chances were scarce. Their achievements contributed to setting a path for upcoming generations of artists, demonstrating that skill and perseverance could surmount even the deepest obstacles. They did not only create music, they created history. In 2005, the O'Jays were welcomed into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, an honor that was much anticipated. This recognition solidified their status among the greatest artists ever, acknowledging their influence on music and their effect on culture. Although awards and honors hold importance, the real gauge of the O'Jays' legacy is found in the numerous lives they have influenced. Artists from all genres have sampled, covered, and celebrated their music, which shows its enduring appeal. Even now, their melodies remain popular and beloved. Whether at gatherings, on the airwaves, or during peaceful moments of contemplation, the music of the O'Jays continues to be a wellspring of happiness and motivation. It serves as a reminder of what soul and R&B can accomplish when grounded in authenticity and passion. The story of the O'Jays is one of determination and victory. They encountered significant obstacles, yet they never permitted those obstacles to shape their identity. Rather, they transformed their challenges into their art, producing a collection of work that serves as a testimony to their skill and perseverance. Their voyage wasn't solely focused on creating music, it was aimed at making an impact. As the music industry keeps progressing, the O'Jays' legacy remains strong. They established a benchmark for brilliance, demonstrating that genuine creativity originates from the soul. Their music transcends being merely a background to history. It serves as a present to the future, highlighting the beauty and strength of soul music. The narrative of the O'Jays illustrates the lasting influence of exceptional art and the resilience required to produce it. But where are the O'Jays now? Are they still active? The O'Jays Farewell Tour. The O'Jays, a legendary R&B band, are now on their goodbye tour, final stop on the Love Train. This tour, showcasing Eddie Leverett Sr., Walter Williams Sr., and Eric Nolan Grant, signifies a spectacular conclusion to their extensive career spanning over 60 years in the music business. The ensemble has been touring throughout the U.S., presenting heartfelt tracks such as Love Train, For the Love of Money, and Backstabbers to fans who have treasured their songs for decades. Walter Williams, a member of the group since its inception, conveyed that the farewell tour is their means of honoring their amazing journey and bidding farewell to their loyal fans. Eddie Leverett expressed a comparable feeling, highlighting how performing revitalizes them regardless of their age. At almost 80 years of age, Leverett and Williams view this as an opportunity to pay tribute to their legacy and their supporters. Before leaving the limelight, Eric Nolan Grant, a member since 1995, has played a crucial role in maintaining their vitality and attractiveness in recent years.
And whatever I felt like doing that day in the studio, I did it. So I called it movie.
Hey, man.
He consistently adds his distinctive style to their performances, integrating effortlessly with the iconic voices of Leverett and Williams. The band has stressed that their farewell tour is not merely a collection of performances, it's an emotional homage to the love, challenges, and victories that have shaped their existence and artistry. In addition to touring, the OJs continue to speak out on social and cultural matters. Their latest album, The Last Word, 2019, addressed issues of social injustice and inequality, highlighting their dedication to using music as a means for change. Even as they get ready to end their live shows, their influence still echoes beyond the stage. The farewell tour serves not only as a celebration of their music, but also as a recognition of their lasting impact. The OJs have received induction into several halls of fame, such as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Vocal Group Hall of Fame, and they have earned 10 gold albums and 9 platinum albums. Their legacy is established not just by their hit songs, but also by their pioneering influence in R&B history. As they conclude their final performances, fans are invited to partake in honoring this remarkable journey in the enduring music that established the OJs as legends. Their goodbye serves as a heartfelt reminder of the joy, bond, and motivation they've provided to the world. So what do you think about the tragic life of OJ's members? Let us know in the comments. If you want more interesting revelations, be sure to like, subscribe, and watch the next video shown on your screen. See you there.